Hello everyone, Ceri the Crafter here, that's C-E-R-I the Crafter, and I'm here with a bit of a share of my latest design that I've made for PM Artist Studio. It's a stencil. It's an idea I came up with and I've played with, and hopefully it's going to work, and this is the first time I'm playing with it, so there's going to be an air of experimentation about this, and I'll talk more as I go along. Anyway, first of all, this is the name of the stencil I've made, and it looks like that, but in real life it looks like this. And this is 9x12. I have my 9x12 gel press plate, and I've got my 5x7 out as well, so that's what we're going to be working with. Now, when I designed this, I had a few ideas how it would be used, and when I was planning this video to show you how to use it, I actually came up with other ideas. So there's probably going to be another video in a few days from me using this, because I designed it to be used on the gel plate. However, there's ideas for it not being used on the gel plate. So this one we're going to do gel plating, because I want to build up a stock of these for myself, obviously, because I've got none at the moment. And then in the next video, which will be, let's see, what day is it today? Today is Monday. The next video may launch on Thursday, I'm unsure. Anyway, I've still got to do it. So my stencils are made by PM Artist Studio in Texas, and they're actually distributed from there as well. It's the only place on the planet you can buy them is from PM Artist Studio. I'll put a link in the description box below, so any other information you need to find will also be there. So that's what the stencil looks like. I need to show you a few other things before I get on with this. Now, I've not done this before, so I'm going to use this paper, which is like a bit heavier than a photocopy paper, but it's the one I usually print my digitals on. It's a bit thicker. I don't know any of this, whether this means anything to anyone who's watching this, but anyway, that's what I'm using. I may also use wet strength tissue paper by Carnival. And we'll just go from there, because I really don't know, and I'm just using acrylic paints. Now, I have to this side of me, I've got some magazine pages I'm going to braille off on. However, the last video I launched, I think, was where I made this, which is full of my brown paper bag. This is my dump it journal. Now, as you can see, I've played. I've put some stuff on the cover, because I have to decorate stuff. And the inserts are here. Now, I'm going to take one of these inserts out, because if I'm going to braille off, I'd rather not get braille stuff all over my cover. One thing I have done since I created this, and I will put a link to that in the description box below, is I painted each of the pages with clear gesso. And this is the gesso I used, only because I've never worked on brown paper bags before, so I don't know how resistant they're going to be to wet mediums. So by putting clear gesso on, it's sealed them a bit, just in case they get a bit too heavy-handed. So if I've got a nice color on my brayer or something, I might just clean it off on here. And yes, those who have been asking, yes, I will do a few videos of me playing in this, but I need to get that far first of all. What else do I need to tell you? I think that's pretty much it. I just need to get going and create some of these, and you will see them in use later on. Don't forget, just because this is meant to be for labels, it's also still a stencil. So if you're someone who's doing backgrounds, you could come in and use sections of this on your mixed media backgrounds. You could come in and, I mean, things like that could be extended down the row, a border of something, of a page. So there are other uses for it. It's one of those you're probably going to see me pull out quite often when I'm gel plating. Now, as these are going to be labels, and eventually I'm either going to stamp on them, and I'd stamp with an archival ink, and it would be this sort of archival ink, or one that's a permanent ink. Always remember, if you're stamping onto an acrylic surface, as the acrylic paints would be, you're going to need to let it dry a little longer, because the acrylic surface is not really as absorbent, but the ink will dry on it. So that's what I intend doing. Anyway, as I was saying, so intend stamping on them. I need to keep the labels relatively pale. well, let's say just not dark is what I say. I mean, bright is fine, but dark is not. So I think we're just going to make a start. I've got on the floor behind me, I've got my old shower curtain, which means I can put loads of stuff down on it. So let's go straight to work, shall we? Right, let's pull in a couple of colours. That's a beigey sort of colour. That's an orangey sort of colour. I don't know whether I want too many colours on at the same time. So I'm just going to pop these out. If these have got no label on them, which these don't have a label on them, it usually means that they're... Why don't you come out? You know that's just going to suddenly spurt all over the place, don't you? Ooh, we'll put it this way. Maybe I've got a mixing bead in there and the bead has got stuck in the hole. Wouldn't be at all surprised. So I'm going to have two colours down here. Now, because we're laying a stencil over the top of the paint, I'm going to put paint here, that there, and then put the paper to lift it. I need a reasonable coating of paint. Now, you could alternatively put this down, spray your paint, lift this off, and then you'd have those and you can just lift them as they are. I'm going to do it this way because that's the way I think I want to work it. Right, just going to come in and get a layer of this down. I'm not used to using this size plate, so let's just, fingers crossed, I have enough paint out to do this. I do have cleanup sheets hanging around as well, so I'll be cleaning up with things like tissue paper and magazine, and I've got a few gel printed backgrounds I've got on the go. This doesn't feel like enough paint. This definitely doesn't feel like enough paint. I'm going to do it anyway, just as my very first tester. So I'm going to take my paper, going to put it on top. I think I've got two there. Have I got two there? No, I haven't got two there. And I'm going to press down. Now I'm going to try and press it down with my fingertips, working on the apertures. I can almost see them as I'm pressing down, and I'm working into those apertures to make sure I pick up as much of the paint as I possibly can. Right, and while that's sat there thinking about itself, I've got orange on here. I'm just going to clean my brayer off onto the magazine page, because I'm not sure I want to put that into my dump it journal at the moment. Right, the moment of truth, people, the moment of truth. See if my idea works. I'm sure someone's probably done something like this before. I can't imagine no one has thought to do this in the past. I just haven't seen it. Right, so let's lift up the corner of this. Up you come. And there you go. I've got a sheet of labels. Now what I would do is I would go let these fully dry. I could then stamp patterns across the top. I could put words onto them, whatever I wish, and then cut them out. So that's going to be my first load. Now let's lift this off. Now the stuff that's left on here can easily be picked up on something else as a cleanup or a ghost. Also, whatever is left on the stencil could potentially be picked up also by just putting it onto something else. Now, I don't think anything is going to transfer from this, and the reason being it's a brand new stencil, so it's probably just really stuck. The paint's really gotten into it, but you never know, you might get something. Never leave it down too long. Oh, got a bit of a ghost. Never leave your stencil down too long with paint on it, because the paper will just suck it up and then it will stick. So, right. I'm not sure orange was the right colour, to be honest with you. So I'm going to take that off there. I'm wondering whether I should try and do something a bit paler. And not that the other one was too dark. It wasn't too dark. It was just a case of that colour combination didn't really sing to me. Let's put it that way. Right. See, I've got something on there. I am going to come in and just wipe this down before I do the next layer. So I think next, because I quite like using this vibrant green, I think I'm going to use green. Is it worth putting another colour with it, or am I just... Yes, it is worth putting another colour with it. let's go in with this turquoise. Green and turquoise, there you go. That's a brave combination if I've ever made one. Remember that I did have enough paint, but I'd quite like to have a little bit more than I had last time. I don't mind too much paint because I can always do 2 prints of the same colour. As I said, I do have ideas of other ways to use this stencil for making labels, which I'm looking forward to doing, I must admit. I just need time to play. It's been very, very busy here at the moment, which is a good thing. I'd be complaining if it wasn't. And I just need to get stuff done. I think I'm going to bring in my very first page because I like this green. I'm just going to put some green onto, I'll show you in a second. So I just put something into the background of this. May not seem a lot, but you know, that's how you build up interesting backgrounds. Right, let's pop this over here, laying it down, and the layer of paint will actually hold it in place. If you have too much paint, however, it could slide. So just be a little bit careful of that. I'm just going to press down now. I'm just doing an even pressure. Now you could use a Baron, and a Baron is one of these. It's a tool that assists your hands by pressing things flat. I got this one off Cody Woodcrafts on Etsy. He makes them by hand, and each one is unique, and I love mine. But I think for me, I want to use my fingertips to make sure that I'm pressing down into all of the different shapes on here. It'd be nice to have some unique handmade label blanks to be able to play with. Now let's see what we come up with this time. Yeah, it's interesting. I've got to get the level of paint right because I've got quite thick paint there. I need to play around until I get that right. Is that too vibrant? I was going to do something with a thinner body, but that will pick that up. Right, let's just do this. Okay, let's go straight on the plate. And let's go a little bit thinner with the paint than I did before. Because as I said, I could easily be putting too much paint on here. Now, I'm not sure whether you could use these labels with watercolor. I was trying to think about that last night when I was planning this video, and I was trying to think, how would I do watercolor with these? And I'm not sure I can, but I'm sure someone out there is gonna get hold of this and do it, and they'll pull it off. I just don't know at the moment. I haven't, as I said, I haven't had this stencil very long. It's the first time out of the packet for me. So we'll just see what we come up with. Now I could, of course, do some other stuff as well. So I'm just concentrating on getting this at the second. I could put the stencil down and then I could stamp acrylic paint with a foam stamp through it, which would then give me a pattern on each of the labels. And then I could put a pull layer over the top of it all, pull it off. Might do that at the end, I'm not sure. Not sure whether that would be an effect I would want. So this was less paint. Okay, less paint. Right, so less paint gives me a better look. Right, we were going to do what colour? We were going to do pink, weren't we? Let's get this off my brayer. So I'm hoping this is going to become a really useful tool. That's my intent anyway. Right, I've got this pink. I've got a feeling anything that's not got a label on is pretty much like a mixed bottle. So as I've run out of pinks, I put all the pinks into one bottle just to save up space. And also, if I've got all of the bottles condensed into one, that gives me more space. I then have a good enough excuse to go and buy more paint. That's how my brain works, people. That's how my brain works. Right, so I'm getting a relatively smooth coating and not too heavy of a coating. So I haven't gone too heavy on the paint. But I am getting an even coat. And we need to put this over the top again. And let's pop this on here. So I just want to do one more after I've done this. I'm going to choose, I don't have any blue labels. I'm going to do a set of blue labels after this because we're just repeating a process at the moment and I don't want to bore anybody. I will do one set of blue because when you reckon that'll be close to almost 200 labels if I do another sheet or two. So this was the pink. Lift up. Wonder why it keeps puckering. I'm not sure why it's doing that. Okay, those are okay. I'm okay. Remember, they're painty labels. I'm not expecting them to be anything than painty labels. Right. Let's get some of this on here. Why am I shaking this? I'm shaking this tube because I do know that this brand of chalk paint separates in the tube, which is a little bit odd for me, but there you go. Right, go easy with this one, Griffiths, because you know that it gives you too much paint. Right. Yes, I thought I'd be using more paint on the plate than I actually am. So that's an interesting turn of events for me. So I think we'll just do this colour and then I will play around with putting some sort of pattern through the stencil to pick up the labels on the other side. Just as a thought. I must have something stuck on my brayer that's making marks. Oh, I was going to clean this off as an honest. So okay, that's just a little bit, but that's, as I said, how you start doing mixed media backgrounds. I'm happy with that. Now let's tip this upside down. It's got quite a layer of paint on it. Oh, that wasn't exactly what I wanted to happen, but you know what? I wonder, can I just... Okay, well, we've lost those labels, so note to self, be careful when you put it down, Griffiths, and you've got 2 pieces of paper there. We may just have to do another sheet now because I've messed that one up. Well, I've messed up 6 of the labels, not all of them. I might just put another colour blue down, or even purple actually, because blue and purple, sorry, blue is part of purple, so I don't mind that. Come on, up you come. Yeah, that chalk paint just sucks into the paper. Okay, that's another layer of labels. Right, I said I was going to do some sort of purple, didn't I? I think I'm just going to put the purple directly onto there. What's this? Chalk paint. Oh, there you go, it's another chalk paint. So I'm just going to put the purple on there. Oh, there's a mess on that nozzle. There you go. I'm just going to put it straight on there. At the end of the day, this is just to make up for the fact that, oh, that's probably way too much paint. Probably make up for the fact that I just messed up the previous one. I might actually get some interesting results because obviously I'm not going to be able to match up exactly where the previous layer of labels was. So we may get some, what's it called? Shadowing type stuff. I didn't want too much on there, or it's going to slide around on me. Let's put this back down again. Boom, boom. And this will be the last sheet that we do like this. And then, as I said, I want to play around with that idea of stamping a pattern down first. It's a very weird day out there today. We've got high winds, brilliant sunshine, and then clouds. I mean, it's I've got washing on the line because I am a domestic god, me. However, what I've done is I put the washing on the lower line, because if I put it on the top line, it's just going to blow off the line. It's that blustery. But it's weird because it keeps getting very dark. Right, this looks like I had too much paint. I can tell that because the paper is rippling. Yeah, I had too much paint. But you know what? Interesting labels. Okay, I've got my foam stamps here. I think I'm just going to pull in these sort of ones. There will be a link to my products with PM Artist Studio in the description box below. So I think I'm going to go do those two at the moment, because I think that I don't want everything so busy that I can't see it. So, right, what colour do I need to do? Right, I've got some raspberry red by Arty here, and I'm going to stamp raspberry red in areas. Now, I don't need a huge amount, but I'd like some. Come on, out you come. I must be running low on this. Right, just need a little bit, because I'm going to use this as almost my ink pad to lift the paint to stamp upon there. So I'm just going to come in. Let's do this in red. So I'm going to press it until it picks up some. Always look at your stamp to make sure it's picked up something. And I'm going to come in and just press it down onto the plate in random areas. Let's put another bit by there. Right, this will get laid onto my damp cloth now, just so that the paint doesn't dry out. I've got red on here, so I'm going to turn this over, and I'm going to use up that red on my dump it journal, as we're calling it, and I'm going to pick up what's on that plate as well. This is me being brave, people, because I've not done this sort of brown bag thing before, so we'll get to it. We will get to it. Right, just need to clean this off here. Now, this shouldn't take too long to dry, because obviously it's only a thin layer. So that's that one there. Right, so circles. What colour would I do the circles? I'm thinking of picking this up with a palish colour. Actually, I'm going to go back to the pink. Don't know why. I'm feeling the pink for this. And then I think we might pick it up with a really pale colour. So now a little bit of red from my brayer is actually contaminating that. That also doesn't bother me. Pick that up. I'm going to put the circles down, kind of in the gaps, but I don't actually know where all of the labels will fall, so it's going to be an interesting thing to see. Okay, again, this needs to go onto a damp cloth. And I've got pink on here, so let's put some pink with this red. And I think this is almost dry. It is dry. Let's pick up some of the pink with this. Ooh, I think Darcy Sanders will be proud of me. I'm just going for it today. I like that. I like pink and green. But I like pink and green anyway. Right, just open this up so that it won't stick to my tabletop. So what I need to do now is I need to let this sit for a little bit to actually dry before I decide what else I'm going to do. Although I need to decide what else I'm going to do. I think, what are we up to? We're doing okay. Do I want anything else on here? I don't think I do. Now, another thought's just occurred to me. I could have come in and actually done some sort of design on here with the Posca pens, you know, the paint pens, and then they would have come through on here, and once they're dried I could pick them up with that. So I'm going to pause you for 2 seconds. Basically I want to go and wash these 2 stamps, and this needs time to dry, or else I'm going to get into trouble, and I need it to dry, to be honest. So back in 2 seconds, guys. So here I'm back in. Hopefully I'm not being too impatient. The foam stamps are dried. Now I'm thinking I want to pick this up with yellow, because I like yellow, and I do fancy having a bit of yellow. Okay, this is cadmium. Well, it says cadmium yellow deep hue by Winsor & Newton. It's a really powerful yellow, but it is one of my favorite yellows. And I'm just going to use white because I don't want this to be so bright. But it's not knock your socks off white. But I do want to mix this up on this plate before I take it over to here. Can you see that? You can see that. It is quite a nice fresh colour. Right, now I'm going to just skim over the top of this, and that hopefully will seal in everything that's on the plate below it. And then I'm going to come in and complete the brayering. It's quite a thin coat, this one, so I'm hoping I'm not underestimated. Goodness knows I've overestimated every other one. And then I'm going to come in with a sheet of clean paper and put that down. Now I may have to wait a few seconds because obviously the fresh paint I've just put on needs to reinvigorate the dry paint below it, because my aim is to pull both pattern and label at the same time. So, right. And as I've got yellow on here, I'm going to add it to one of the pages in here. Let's just put that down there. That wasn't a lot. Let's see if I just pick up something. I'm kind of eager to start working in one of these. The trouble is just getting the time to just go right, because I just want to, I mean, for those of you who don't know why I created these, I was finding that I'm kind of not playing enough. I'm not trying out techniques like I used to, because in my art journals, if I've had an art journal on the go for over a year, and some of them are way over a year, then what I'm finding is I'm being too careful in my art journals. And we all know art journals are supposed to be where you experiment, but when you're loving your art journal, I find I don't really want to mess it up by doing something stupid. So I needed something like a dumping zone, which is why I created this. And as I said, there's a video link in the description box below. And I've done this sort of binding so that once one of these is done, I can take it out and refresh it with, maybe next time I'll do map pages, or I'll do telephone directory pages, or just so I've got somewhere where I can dump things like spare paint, which is what I'm doing today. Just getting stuff down. Right. Fingers crossed, guys. I'm hoping this works. I want it to work so badly. Oh, I think it is working. Oh, if I can lift it off again. Come on, up you come. Gosh, this paper does not stick to the plate. Okay, I'm loving that. I like that, the pale. Okay, well, that's a note to self. Okay, I'm liking that a lot. And see, even the partial ones, I mean, if I stamp a black word on there, or even I could just use that as a decorative element, even like that could be a decorative element. I'm liking that. Now, I know someone is going to ask me, could they do it onto one sheet label paper? I don't know. And I don't think, in fact, I haven't got any. I know I haven't got any. If it's a one sheet of label paper, I'm guessing you should be able to. I know that if you gel plate onto a sheet of labels, when you lift the gel plate up, half the time the labels stick on the gel plate. But as it's a one sheet, you might get away with it. But I don't know, and I'm not going to try it because knowing me, it'll stick and be a complete disaster. Right, there you go. So that's all of the stuff cleaned up. Obviously the gel plates are gone, everything's washed. These are relatively dry now. So these are our sheets that we've made, and it didn't take long. That was our first attempt. I think, well, no, that wasn't our first attempt. Which was our first attempt? I can't remember which was the first attempt. I think that might, no, that was the one I messed up. Anyway, let's just say we've got these labels. Now I'm going to play around with finishing some of them off because I've got a sneaky idea of what I'd like to do, but I just want to try a few things as we go along. So let's pull in this one. Now, you've seen me do Arty labels before now in a different way, and I just wanted to try and carry over a couple of the techniques to that. So I've got some script stamps here. Now, I cannot tell you where they came from because I have no idea. I always break my sets of stamps down into categories like flowers or insects or script or numbers or stuff like that, unless they're a collection like a Tim Holtz collection, and I will keep all of the Tim Holtz together because a lot of the time people want to know who these are, but some of these are usually so old I couldn't even tell you where they're from. So I'm just going to put this onto an ink block, a stamp block. So I never remember which way this goes up. It goes that way. Right, so I think on the blue ones, I'm going to use this colour called Seafarer. And I just want something in the background on my stamps, on my labels. So I'm just going to come in and I'm just going to pop it on just so I've got something. I'm not going to do all of them, just little bits here and there. What I would say is I think it's better to do all of your stamping while they're in this format than doing it when you've cut them, because this way it's all in one place, and if you mess up one of the labels you haven't wasted your time cutting it up then. Right, let's come in and just stick a little bit of this on there as well. Don't know why this feels like the right colour for this, but it does. See, it just gives me a little bit across the background here, just so I've got something there. It's like these little ones may not have much in them at all. They may just end up with a number. But there you go. So I've just got bits in the background. Right, I think that's enough of that. I need something to stamp this off in now, don't I? Let's bring in this. Why not? It's here. Let's stamp it. Yeah, that's the way I clean my stamps off as well. Right, so I've got that on there. Now, what else do I want to put on here? I wonder. Let me just have a quick look. I think I've got a couple of flower stamps around here that I might actually use as well. It's not my intent to stamp all of these. I want one or two, so we've got samples to look at. Right, these are just a couple of little stamps I've got. Again, don't ask me. I have no idea where I got them from. I often get a lot of my stuff from eBay in auctions, and at that point they're pre-loved, pre-used, and I'm basically giving them a new lease of life or recycling them. Right, the reason I put glue stick on the back of this one is purely because the sticky has died. It is that old. There ain't no sticky left on it, so after I finish using it, I can always just wipe off the excess. Right, let's go back to this one. I'm just going to pull in, what colour is this? Lighthouse, which you would think is a red, but actually looks a bit burgundy-ish to me. I'm just going to come in and I'm going to put something on these areas. I need to remember that not all the stamps are going to be in the same, labels are going to be used in the same orientation. Okay, is there anything else in here that could do with orange? Would be okay to have this stamped on it. Let's just pop that in there. So it's a good way to just play and utilize your stamps, guys. Let's just do these two again here. Anything else want to touch of this? How are the purple ones doing? Oh, the purple ones need serious help. Let's do that. Now I know this is going to make no sense when I cut these out because it's just going to be little tiny pieces. However, it's going to be little tiny pieces of interest. Right, I think we've done enough with that, so let's just Take that off there. And again, it's a water-soluble glue in glue stick. So I do that and I just clean off this. It's just a way that I've found to revitalize my stamps if I'm having a problem with them. Right, I have green. Right, I've got this, it's my favourite green, the fern green. And I've got this stamp here. Is there a maker on it? No, see, I can't even tell you who it is. As I said, I utilise whatever I can find when I find it. Let's see, it just gives a little bit of subtlety in there. I hope you can see that. And you don't have to stamp them all the same. Let's see, anything else while I touch of green? Oh, these might do with some green on them. Let's do a little bit on the edge of that one. See, that'll be a lovely label with that down the side. And let's go in the middle of these two, and that means I've got two labels for the price of one. Right, so we've got the idea. I mean, we don't need to overly label that point. Let's put those to one side. Right, so let's see. I was thinking, I've got these two stamp sets from Tim Holtz, and I'm just thinking, should I actually just try and stamp something? So this is called, what is this called? It doesn't say. Or is it on this half? Oh, Eccentric CMS 448. It was one that I treated to myself at Christmas. So I thought, I'd see if there's anything in here that appeals to me. Have I got a small block? I've got a small block. Right, I've got relatively small stamps. Let's see whether factory would fit into any of these. Probably will. As you can see, I haven't planned a lot of this, guys. So if I feel a bit disorganized, it's because I basically am just doing this on the fly because I'm not really sure what I wanted to do with them because I haven't played with them yet. Right, so I've got my stamp on here. I think the obvious choice would be to bring in black. Where's my black? Right. And this is another reason why I do all of the stamping before I cut. Because if I mess this up, then I just won't cut that label out. Okay. Put that in there. See what I mean? So that gives me a really cute little label. Let's do a couple of others of those. And then we'll see about another one. I didn't make these any specific size with any specific stamp set in mind. So just know that they're just whatever they are. Let's see if I can just pull in some numbers. Where did I get this one from? So, yes, I do like Tim Holtz's stamps, or Tim Holtz stamps. However, they are definitely an investment. They're a considered purchase in my world anyway. I mean, whenever I buy Tim Holtz stamps, I think about it first. Let's put it that way. Because goodness knows, as I said, I want to make sure it's a stamp I'm going to use time and time again because they're not cheap. So, but I do love the quality of them. Right, see if that fits in there. Yes, it does fit in there. Okay, I can do two of those. Actually, just put one with a number and a flower in it. I like that. So as you can see, this is just something you could do with a YouTube in the background or a movie playing or just listening to music. Well, this is the one that we did with the multicolours, isn't it? Let's pop that in there. Am I in shot? I am in shot, barely, but I am in shot. Even the one that's got red on it. Let's see. Right, let's just pull in one of the blue ones. I'm not liking the lavender ones. You may have noticed I'm avoiding them. Okay, there you go. Right, I think we get the ideas, guys. The idea. So you can go through, use up your stamps, use up your letters, or if you've got letter handwriting that is far superior to mine, which wouldn't take a lot, I can tell you, then you could always go in and write stuff or do little messages or things like that. You could just make up a signature and make it a signature label, stuff like that. Okay, so now that I've got some of these done, this is where my other idea came in. Now, if you've got Poscas, if you've got permanent markers, or you've got, I think this would even work with, what are they called? Sharpies, you know, the bullet nose Sharpies. You could go in and do this next stage. So let's just pull the blue ones out. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to find a blue or something that complements the blue. Let's just stay with the brown. Right, this is a PC5M, and I'm going to put this back down on top of this. It's going to have to be the right way around, though, Griffiths, isn't it? So note to self, that the shapes will be reversed. So I'm just going to line this up. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this as a template to put a frame around. So I'm holding my pen vertically and I'm running around the stencil. Let's do it on this one as well. And the thing this will do is it will give you a really nice edge, unless you're messy like me. Now, the outside edge doesn't matter. It's going to be cut off because that's where you're going to cut around. So let's see. Was it one of those? It was one of those. I don't know why I bothered lining the whole sheet up when I can just come in and do one of them. And I know they're all the same because I designed them. So coming down, run around, and I've given it a frame. Let's see, wonder what colours I can use this for. All right, this is raspberry. Right, where's the pink one's gone? Could you raspberry on those? Let's do raspberry on those. All right. Okay. I don't mind that it bleeds under slightly and goes to the outside. It's the inside I'm concerned about. Here's the pink ones. Let's come in to do one of these. Now, for those of you who do coffee dyeing, I should imagine you could actually use these to spritz coffee through as well. Let's just do this one. And then I think we'll cut one or two out just to have a look and see what they actually look like when they're cut out. But as I said, guys, this is the first time I'm playing with them and I'm just having a play. Now, if I did want to do a finer line, I just realized I didn't do any fine lines, did I? Right, so this is a 0.8, I think. Is it a 0.8? It is a 0.8, and it's a Unipen fine liner. I like these for doodling and I like these for Zentangling. So again, I hold it vertical and I run the nib around the edge. And it gives me a demarcation line to cut upon. So this probably wouldn't give you a border, but it would help you. Say you've got a shape that didn't, actually we did have some, didn't we? Where's that one that I messed up? Right, so if this was a really vague shape, like I didn't want to cut it and I didn't know where to cut, if I line the most of it up with the stencil, then I put the outside line in. You could even do this with a pencil and you could rub it out afterwards or an eraser. Then when I cut it out, I've got the actual shape, but the border wouldn't be on it. So, right, let's grab myself, let's put that over there. Let's grab myself a scissors and cut a couple of these out and see whether my idea has kind of been successful. I'm just going to come in. Now, you could cut these out and leave them blank and work on them individually, as I said, but I found my idea was if I actually work on them on the sheet, I've got a better way of keeping them all sorted. Can you see? You can see. So I'm just going to cut around. Now, we all do fussy cutting, so, well, I say we all, that's a blanket statement, isn't it? The majority of us do fussy cutting, so just cutting a sheet of labels occasionally is not going to be like hard work for any of us. So there you go. That's given me a little framed label. I'm liking that. And it's uniquely mine, with the exception, of course, of the Tim Holtz bit. Right, let's see if I can find something that's got a different thing on it. Right, this one here. So I'm just going to cut along, because this didn't have a border. But if I just cut along the edges of the paint, then it will make it nice and clean for me. Now, I did line all of these up. So if you're someone who wants to use a trimmer or something, if you cut it into sections, you should then be able to cut the labels en masse that are all in the group that they're in. So there you go. That's another little Arty label. So as you can see, this is just where my brain went when I was playing around with this concept of making a stencil that might be useful. As I said, there is going to be a link in the description box below to another video that's going to launch in a couple of days' time. So don't go looking for it immediately. It won't be there. And that video will be me playing with other ideas than using a gel plate, because I know not everyone's got a gel plate. And I always try to design stuff that can be used in different ways. So there you go, with and without. I'm liking those. I think we did okay with that. And I think with more practice, I will get more and more used to doing them. But see, those will go in my stash, and I just use them on ephemera from now on. Basically, these will just go into my printed label boxes. So hopefully that was exciting for you, because it was exciting for me. When you have an idea and you draw something and it becomes a stencil, and then you own it for the first time. So PM Artist Studio is the company I designed for. This is the name of the stencils. I have lots of stencil designs with them. So what I'm going to do is I'll put a link in the description box to this one. I'll put a link in the description box to all of the products I do for PM Artist Studio, so you can have a look and see what else may grab your fancy. Now, if I remember correctly, and I do remember correctly, one second, just need to reach it. If you go over to PM Artist Studio, and I do encourage you to look around, there's lots more designers than myself, and there's some very interesting and unique designs in products that can be used for creating art. If you have more than $35 worth of products in your basket, if you enter this code, CeriFan10, as you see here, it will take 10% off your total order, which is great. Now, I believe if you go above a certain limit in the States, you actually get free postage and packaging. If you're international, you will always have to pay for postage and packaging. And this, the 10% will help offset it a bit for you. So hopefully you enjoyed that, guys. As I said, that was me playing with a new product of mine. I'm looking forward to using it in the future. You will see it in what I create anyway. And for those of you going, when am I going to do my brown bag dump it journal or art journal? It's coming. As you can see, I've just started playing now. So I'm Ceri the Crafter. That's Ceri the Crafter. Until next time, bye-bye now.